The killing of 120 villagers by bandits at Goronye Market in Sokoto State on the 17th of October still draws bitter taste in the mouth, especially when the perpetrators roam the forest free. On Wednesday, the Senate mourned the victims by observing a minute's silence for them after a point of order raised by Senator Ibrahim Gobra. Meanwhile, a judge of Ekiti State High Court, Justice Lekon Ogumoye, has sentenced Abdulsalam Adinoyi, a self-confessed member of Boko Haram, to death by hanging. That could be a tonic needed to end the terror in the northeast. Gentlemen, since this campaign started, since the war against Boko Haram started, it has always been, you know, people coming out to clamor for amnesty for these sects. We hardly see clear cases going to court, prosecuted with evidence, and people, you know, are sentenced to, or get judgment here and there. One of the few cases. So it's a nice one coming from Ekiti State High Court, that Justice Lekon Ogumoye.
Exactly. You know, why one of the main reasons why this insurgency has been, you know, going on for more than 9 or 10 years now is because there've not been any clear-cut prosecution, you know, of those who are perpetrating this evil. Apart from the fact that the military has been going head-on trying to, you know, eliminate them, those who are being caught, as in taken to the prison, none has gone through the full process of the judiciary, whereby they will be taken to court, we'll look, and then we'll look at them, everybody say, okay, these are the set of people that attacked a particular village, killed a particular set of people, killed the military, and this, that. None. What we have always seen is that at the end of the day, some of them are coming out and they are turning to repentant terrorists or whatever. And at the end of the day, they have, you know, because, yeah. So if, for instance, we have whereby justice is served to these people, whereby people who perpetrate this crime, they are brought to the law courts, and then they are being served the jail terms that is needed for them. By now, Ayo would have moved on. Most of them by now would have said, okay, we are not doing this bad or this job again, because it's like a job to most of them. And that is why you can see ISWAP, for instance, going all out to Libya, trying to recruit mercenaries to come and fight in Nigeria. You know, so if this is going to be the first test whereby Boko Haram members are being jailed or being served this kind of jail term, because it's either 20 years imprisonment for one of the charges, it was 20 years imprisonment, and then hanging, to die by hanging, or even, that is maximum. So if this is done, we will know that even those who are claiming that they are bandits, they will also stop. Because we can't every day wake up in the morning and we hear that 120 Nigerians, our brothers and our sisters who went out to the market to fend for themselves, are killed. And then the only thing we do is 1 minute silence.
Yes. Now we now have like a precedent. I'm not sure it's the first case, but one of those few cases that you will see, and this will serve as deterrent to people that want to take to this cult group.
Yes, a lot of Nigerians who have been following this macabre, you know, dance we've been having in Nigeria since 2010 have been calling for
the
prosecution of these people, you know, in line with the laws of this country. We have laws dealing with such criminality, but the fact is that the kid gloves with which the Nigerian state have been handling this matter has made mockery of our legal system. Look at what happened in Chad when some of them were caught. It took Chad not less than 2 months before they were sentenced and killed. And that sent a very strong message, which we've not been having in Nigeria. Even when it was difficult for even some lawmakers and even the federal government to accept when Boko Haram started, for them to be branded as terrorists. Now, we now have at least one case that could be cited. But the fact is that with the way state governors who have the ultimate power to sign the death warrant, they've been,
shying away.
They've been shying away from doing that. Except the former governor of Edo State. There has never been any governor in Nigeria that signed death warrant. That is why many of these people are still in detention. I mean, in custody. After many years, they were convicted, either as armed robbers or those who murder their fellow human beings. So we have to set example with this person who has just been, convicted.
Jide, is there anything wrong with the fact that it's taking a judge from Ekiti State High Court, Justice Lekon Ogumoye, to actually pass this maximum sentence? Is this telling us anything?
Not really telling us anything, and he's not the first judge to convict Boko Haram suspects. As long as the prosecutorial institutions can bring Boko Haram suspects to court, I'm very certain that they will be convicted. Remember the 2011 Christmas Day bombing at St. Teresa's Catholic Church, Madala, in Niger State. Remember a man known as Kabiru Sokoto. His real name was Diko. Kabiru Sokoto was sentenced to life imprisonment by Justice Ademola of the Federal High Court, who has now retired. And he was actually sent to the brand new prison that the then governor of Asukwa State built. That's Governor Akpabio.
Minister.
He built a very modern prison. Yeah. And Kabiru Sokoto had the honor of being one of the first people to experience what that modern prison looks like. So he was sentenced to life imprisonment for terrorism. Don't also forget that Charles Okatu was sentenced to life imprisonment for terrorism for plotting the Independence Day bombing in Abuja. Kabiru Sokoto succeeded in killing 44 persons, and many people were injured. So we just need to encourage the authorities to bring up cases against these fellows. We have heard of the sponsors of Boko Haram. We were told they were going to be put on trial. We are waiting. We don't know how long it's going to take the Attorney General of the nation to put these guys on trial. We will never be able to serve exemplary lessons to these individuals unless we make them pay, unless we make them have their day in court. So this is particularly cheering coming from Ekiti State, because it belonged to the Boko Haram at that time, the Boko Haram group, and he confessed to being a member of Boko Haram from Okene, and when his house was searched, the guns, police guns, that is snatched from policemen at a checkpoint where he killed a police officer, were found in his house. So the judge did not waste time in saying that all the issues are resolved in favor of the prosecution, and he was sentenced to death. So we just need to we have bandits now. If bandits are arrested now, they should be tried as terrorists. They should be tried as terrorists. I'm not saying that banditry is the same thing as terrorism, but some of the things that they are doing these days qualify them to be tried as terrorists. So we have to find a way to solve this problem. Killing 120 people is extremely disturbing. I know that there were 2 reprisal attacks. It wasn't that they were killed in one day. There were 2 reprisal attacks. But whatever be the case, you shouldn't kill 120 people and get away with it. So we should do a lot better in terms of bringing these guys to book.
So when you see the bandits on rampage, especially this Sokoto thing, I expect that at least the security agents would have identified the group responsible for this. This should not be yet another killing.
Of course, I'm very sure with the onslaught so far by the military, in trying to make sure that they deal with these bandits, they would have identified where they are now, because if you know what the senator was saying, one of the things he said was they have even started installing their own village heads. So if somebody is a village head, it means that he now has an enclave.
Yes,
so it will be very easy to go there and deal with them, no matter how many they are. So it's just that the number of the military, the number of the soldiers that will be taken there to go and deal with these guys will also be determine how and when these guys will be dealt with. Because the thing is, these guys are, every day you wake up and you open the TV, you listen to radio and the newspapers, there is no day that you don't hear about deaths. And it's really disturbing. So the only way that we can deal with these people is for us to deal with them. The only language they understand is for us to go all out on them. There's no time saying you want to pity them. I don't subscribe to the fact that by Sheikh Gumi, who is always saying that religion can pacify them. No.
Do you have this feeling? Some people would like to insinuate that, look, the way we are treating these bandits, we are treating them with kid gloves. We've not descended on them maximally.
Yes, a lot of people have such a perception. Even from the point of view of saying they are not terrorists. I have a different view. You don't need to be the Robespierre of the Jacobin club, those who masterminded terror during the French Revolution, for you to be qualified as a terrorist with what these guys are doing. What matters most is, what does our law say? We have Anti-Terrorism Prevention Act, which defines kidnapping and intimidation of the society. Any act that could be translated to intimidating the society qualifies as an act of terrorism. For a group of, whether you call them bandits, who walk into the market and then shoot at random and kill 120 people, or walk into a school and kidnap 200 or more people, some of them 3-year-old children, will be in the forest for 2 months. I don't know what else qualifies as terrorism. So Nigerian state has been dealing with them with kid gloves. We need to, give them that tag, and then sufficiently, bring the full weight of the state to bear against them.
But do you believe so? Do you believe in this sentiment that we've not actually descended on them heavily enough? On these bandits?
I think largely the bandits and the terrorists have exposed the weaknesses in security architecture. There are methods by which we can approach this problem that we are really not taking advantage of. For example, my own suggestion had always been, let's have a military campaign that could last up to 5 months. We know we're at war. Let's have it simultaneously across all the contiguous states, so that there's no escape for these guys. Because we know now that some of these guys what they have done is simply to move into other areas that have not experienced so much bombing by the military. And they started causing problems in those areas. These places in Sokoto, Sabombrini, Isa, Tureta, Goronyo, where they killed all these people, they were not experiencing that level of attack by bandits until the escalation of the military operation in Zamfara state. So what will it take us to ensure that these attacks on these guys are simultaneous? Is it that we do not have the resources, or what? Is it that the military does not have the right training to get the job done? Because, look, for me, you can call them what you like. You can call them bandits, you can call them terrorists. The issue is, how are we approaching defeating them? People need to ask themselves questions. The people think that simply calling them terrorists is the solution, is what will put an end to the menace that these guys constitute. They should ask the questions about what's going on in the Northeast. As we speak, more than 50% of Borno North is still in the hands of Boko Haram.
More than 50%.
The entire Guzamala local government is Boko Haram controlled. That is the local government of the speaker. There's no military presence there. I've said it repeatedly. So, are those ones not designated as terrorists? Why have we not been able to deal a decisive blow on them? We still read about Boko Haram till today attacking military bases. Those reports are still coming out. Just 3 days ago, they went to Askira Uba to burn our people's houses, to kill our people in Askira Uba, along the border with Adamawa State, the border between Borno and Adamawa State. That's a group that we are designated as a terrorist group for so long. So you can call them what you like. As Mayor said the other day, this is just a matter of semantics. It is your approach that will decide whether you defeat the enemy or not. If we brand them as terrorists, as many as they are, at least in Zamfara alone, there could be up to 200 bandit groups, just in Zamfara alone. Even if we brand them terrorists, what is the approach? Will our approach lead to success? How many years will it take us to defeat Boko Haram? Since 2009. So this is the thing. There's got to be a change in strategy, a change in approach. We are not seeing that. Why should bandits at their level now be seizing armored vehicles of the military?
That means we are
so it's the approach that really matters, the approach to solving the problem, not what you call these criminals. It's the approach.
But dealing with like a full-scale war up north now.
Yeah.
And if we are looking at the areas being occupied by Boko Haram and those other areas being
occupied by bandits.
The bandits.
You know. So the thing is, if only the Nigerian government or the Nigerian state sees these guys, whether bandits or terrorists, especially bandits, because those ones are the ones even giving us. We know that of the terrorists, they are still, the war is still on, but the bandits now, who is becoming, whether we should call them terrorists or not, if we can now declare full-scale war on them, I feel we can defeat them. Just like Babajide is saying, if there's a strategy,
go all out, sustained.
Yes, if
like
there's a sustained strategy for us to deal with these guys, Ayo will deal with them. Because I don't believe that the Nigerian military is incapable of dealing with these guys. We might not have the personnel, but we have the capacity to deal with them. So all we need is just for us to draw up a perfect strategy and see this as a major war, a warfare that these guys has to be eliminated, these guys has to be, they need to be defeated so that people begin to live their lives.
Now the simplest way of even getting rid of these guys is the air power.
Sure.
And
exactly.
Since we have this limitation of, if you can't use it against Boko Haram alone, you can't use it against bandits. I see that as a big setback, because we have our 12 Super Tucanos now. That would have made the difference, that we don't need to deploy infantry soldiers on ground, or maybe artillery. Just finish them through air, and the infantry will just come in and do what we call mop-up.
Are the Air Force, are they not in action in Zamfara State? I was given to understand that why these people have shifted to Sokoto was because of the series of attacks they were receiving from Zamfara State. They now migrated to Sokoto.
We should not allow such migration to happen.
Yes, it shouldn't. The air power should be deployed. These people are enemies of the state. That's what they've demonstrated. You remember that it is the same set of people that invaded the NDA in Kaduna. The same people, this set of guys. So they've committed so much atrocities that whatever action the state decides to take against the Boko Haram should be visited upon them. So that is what should be done. If we treat them differently from the way Boko Haram is being handled, it then means that what is going on there will continue. And one important point I have to make is that we should not, forget the fact that why we came to this sorry state in the first place was because of the fact that our territories are under policed. And since the life of this administration started, Nigerians have been clamoring for state police, including the governors now who are the receiving end. I mean, in the north, they have all been calling for this. I remember the Air Rufai's committee on devolution of powers, which recommended, among other things, state police. 9 governors were there. So we should be asking the Gobe, the senator from Sokoto State that brought this matter before the Senate. What is the National Assembly doing on that? They have the power to initiate such a process of power devolution that will include state policing if the president is not willing to do so. So what are they doing? So lamenting or just mourning the death of these people is not what is expected of them.
Jide, do you support this? Okay, you were talking about constant bombardment and everything, and we might be limited in terms of we might not be able to get our best out against these bandits.
Well, as I've said repeatedly, we don't need the Tucano bombers to defeat these bandits. The ground attack helicopters will even do a much more devastating job. When Boko Haram invaded one of the super camps in the northeast, I think in Malte, it was the ground attack helicopters with night fighting capability that launched 3 waves of attacks, and all of the Boko Haram men at that location were obliterated, including the weapons of the army that they had stolen. They were unable to, not one of them was able to escape from that super camp. That job was done by our main ground attack helicopter. So what the Tucano will do, Tucano can give you precision, accuracy, and it can protect the lives of your fighter bombers, because they can launch their weapons from long range.
Okay.
But there's nothing as devastating, as useful to the infantry soldiers as the ground attack helicopters.
Okay, Jide, let me quickly
if we use them maximally, like
Jide, just hold on. We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll discuss more. I'll go back to you, Jide, after this.